Welcome to my awesome health journey. This is the shirt my ex hated because she said it looked like spiders. Today I'm talking about more personal stuff, which is masking. I had an incident on Thursday that really brought it to my attention. It's actually something I wanted to talk about for a while, mostly because this is a way I get my thoughts behind things in order. And this is masking is kind of like putting on a mask if you're autistic so you can fit into a certain situation. And it's something that I've known I always did before I knew what the word for it, especially in high school and junior high. I would feel like I was a different person around my family, be like a different, like almost completely different person around my friends, and then a completely different person just around a bunch of strangers. It's like putting on a suit or something. I remember talking about it with my mom, and she was like, "Everybody does that," but I don't think everyone does. As I've met many people who act the same, no matter who they're around, but not the same, basically the same. Because there's seems to be like positive and negative doing this. Because the one thing we do, action we do, I'm trying not to say doo doo because that's not. I don't like saying that because it's funny, but is act different in certain situations. For instance, you shouldn't act around your friends the same way at work because you're going to get fired because, for one, cussing and stuff like that. You shouldn't be cussing at work unless you're at a place where that's part of the company culture. So I spent a lot of my life trying to, especially um, trying to cultivate a personality. I think that's one of the difference between people who are on the spectrum who are on the spectrum is they don't think about their personality and how they act in certain situations, how they want to react in certain situations, and break it down into a way and try to integrate that into their personality. That is something that I've done multiple times and thought about and stuff. And I think there is a positive sort of masking and a negative sort of masking in a sense, because I guess one thing I always wondered is like, who would I be if I didn't mask, if I didn't try to create a persona? Like, is there a totally authentic enlightened person underneath all that? But I think in a way we are all the uh after effect. Oh man, I hate when I forget simple words. It's happening more with age. I like to think I just have so much information. It's harder for me to find it like it used to when I was younger. That's how I justify it. But what I was trying to say, it's like um, fudge. I completely lost my train of thought. Uh, let me pause. Yeah, we're all part of our the things that happen to us. But I think one of the differences when you're like on the spectrum is you're more aware and kind of deliberate and utilize that as a way of survival. Because I want people to like me. I get enjoyment around stuff of that nature. And the way I see it is on Thursday, I was after the QA conference. I went to an event where we played Cyberpunk RPG, and I wasn't having fun. The situation was just chaotic, just like practically murder hobo-y, just a bunch of random things. And I like number one, I don't know these people, and number two, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up to learn a system and didn't feel like I was learning the system, and I felt like the character I made wouldn't fit, and I didn't get uh the ability to create that character. So I wanted to had an idea for a character and I want to play them, but it's like I wasn't having fun. Um, so what I did was kind of switch over myself so that I could have fun in this scenario and laugh at some jokes and stuff like that and like play along with it. But afterwards, I felt gross. I felt icky. Um, and I think to myself, I should have left. And I think that actually kind of hurt my second day at the conference because, like, I was tired and I wasn't mentally tired from listening, but I think I was just mentally tired from that 3 hours because that kind of masking, that kind of like trying to fit in and not trying to be ostracized from a group, type of masking is exhausting. It takes a lot of mental exercise to mentally think about your reactions and to act in a certain way so that you fit into a group. That takes a lot out of me. I think that's why I used to feel like I was introverted, because I used to feel like I had like a social cup. But the thing is, I didn't have a social cup. I was just playing a role, trying to be a person that would fit in a situation and not be my authentic self, and not try to put my personality, just try to be a person that people liked, and failed most of the time, especially since I always thought people didn't like me. And so having that dichotomy. So after a while, that's just exhausting. It's one of the reasons why I didn't want to do that anymore, because I hate doing things that exhaust me, especially that things like that, 'cause it's not helpful. So the way I kind of view it is now is personas. Like when I went at the conference, I put on like a conference persona that is also into QA, but I'm still mostly myself. I just switch up my personality, like systems based on um what it the situation. And went out last night to hang out with friends, I switched up, switched on cussing and self-deprecating humor and all the things like that I also like, that my friends like. And that feels fine because I was still acting with an integrity. I think that's the problem with masking. There's like, we all do some sort of extent of it. Is just autistic people work harder at it because it's more deliberate and more energy. But when it feels icky is when it's not authentic, because authenticity kind of gets this like weird idealistic, especially in the spiritual community. I do have like spiritual switches that I turn on and off as well when I hang out with new age hippie friends. But it's just being in a situation where you feel like you should stand up for yourself. Because I think to that day, there's two instances. There's a person I met at the conference that I think I should have asked out, but I don't feel super bad about it, because the second day I had no desire to do it. And I don't feel like I chickened out. I feel like I should have chickened out. And when I talked to her a second time, I think there was interest, but just for some reason I just didn't want to. And when I look back, I still don't want to. And generally I would feel bad about this, but I do feel bad that I didn't leave, because that's what authentic self would do. I should have said, like, I'm sorry, this table is not what I'm looking for. You guys are having a good time. I'm not, and that's cool. I'm just going to leave. And I could have got more rest that I needed for the next day, and I would have felt better about the situation on a whole, because I don't think they were wrong. It's not they were being bad. It's just it wasn't for me at the time. Even you know what I'm trying to say. I probably don't. So I guess I just been thinking about this a lot, and I don't think there is a me without masking, because that just would be a blank slate, and I don't think that exists. I'm always part of the circumstances, I think that's what I was looking for, of my life. And it's just the way my brain works. It's more deliberate than it is, or it's more in my brain and thinking about it and analyzing about it. I'm more self-aware about it than the average person, because they don't even think about what makes their personality their personality. I think it's more like that. So, yeah, thanks for listening. I don't know if this helps anyone. It certainly helped me, I think. I might talk about this more, and if I don't, whatever. Well, anyways, love you for who you are. Thank you for listening to my ranting, and remember, you're always worthy.